Thanks so much, Pete. Well, what a difference 2 years makes. The Women's March started out strong after Trump's inauguration in 2017. But now the march is filled with troubling allegations. Some of these headlines tell the story, with the march's leadership facing accusations of anti-Semitism. Now, in the wake of these headlines, even the former DNC chairman, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, says she must walk away from the National Women's March organization and specifically its leadership. So what will become of the movement? Joining us now to weigh in is senior policy analyst for the Independent Women's Forum, Patrice Onwuka. Patrice, thanks so much for being here. Now, what do you make of this drastic change? This started out as a movement everyone thought was going to be inclusive, even though they had immediately said that a lot of pro-life groups were not welcome to be partners. And now they're facing really serious charges of anti-Semitism. What's happening here?
Well, this has been the problem with the Women's March from the start. They build themselves as being inclusive, but in fact, they're very exclusive. I mean, it's sad that many Jewish women feel like they can't march or be a part of it, and some of the groups are disbanding. But it's also been exclusive of women who are independent thinking, women who are conservative, women who actually voted for President Trump and didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. And I think what's being exposed today is the hypocrisy, the anti-Semitism, and frankly, just the unwelcoming atmosphere that this march is about. It's really not for all women. It's really just a tool to build up leftist groups and causes.
Now, Tamika Mallory, one of the co-founders, recently answered a question on Israel in an interesting fashion. I want to take a listen and get your reaction.
Okay.
If you're willing to say that the Palestinians are native but not the Jews are native, I mean, you're not Palestinian either.
Because I'm speaking of the people who we know are being brutally oppressed in this moment. That's just the reality.
Is it your view that Israel has a right to exist as a nation?
I have said many times that I feel everyone has a right to exist.
That's quite an answer. And the concern here is obviously that this march has now ostracized the Jewish community. We know that, Mallory has been at events with Louis Farrakhan, that the founders of the march have resisted condemning Louis Farrakhan, who has made completely outrageous anti-Semitic comments. What is your reaction to hearing her response about Israel that way?
I'm not surprised. This is what she's been speaking and probably what she thinks. And unfortunately, from the far left, there is a strain of anti-Semitism. This idea that Jewish people and that the Jewish nation should not be defended, and Jewish people, are less than. And it is terrible. It's anti-American. It is anti-human, and it's certainly not inclusive. And while the Women's March has put out statements that they are not racist and that they are not anti-Semitic, that rings hollow when you consider what the founders have said, and they have some serious, long-standing connections to viewpoints and sentiments that are exactly what it suggests, that they don't believe in they don't believe in the Jewish nation, and they don't support Jewish people.
Now, just to go through some of these allegations, they have endorsed Assata Shakur, a cop killer. They've insisted that the resistance to Donald Trump should be considered a, quote, form of jihad. They've defended Farrakhan, recently alleged to have alienated Jewish organizers because of their suspicious amiability toward anti-Semitic tropes, allowing anti-Semitism, it's not just anti-Semitism, remember, it's anti-LGBTQ sentiment and hateful racist rhetoric to become part of its platform. And you have, the interesting part here is you have Democrats objecting, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, you have organizations like NARAL, Planned Parenthood. These are not right-wing groups coming out and saying, look, we originally liked the message of this organization as being what they deemed as pro-woman, but we can't tie ourselves to this anti-Semitic language, and you allowing this racist anti-Semitic stuff to penetrate the march. So what do you think is going to happen now? Are Democrats going to continue to distance themselves and this movement's just going to dissolve?
It will. I think a lot of groups are already saying they're not going to be part of this year's marches, and I think they're going to move on, because at the end of the day, this is not about all women. This is about really farming for a very specific, very far left agenda. Now, for people who want something for all women, that's what we have at the Independent Women's Forum. We actually have a rally today that is welcoming for all viewpoints.
Thank you so much, Patrice. Really, really appreciate your perspective and great work at IWF.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.